everybody, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, we are going to be talking about ultimately how the writers failed Maya St Germain on Pretty Little Liars. So I'm currently rewatching the show and I'm kind of on like season 2, 3-ish. And the topic of Maya is something that I find really interesting. And there's quite a few split opinions regarding Maya. So today I'm going to kind of talk about the timeline of Maya, the timeline of her death, and ultimately why I feel like the show kind of failed Maya and her character. So we are introduced to Maya in the pilot episode of the show, and she had just moved into the De Laurentiis, like the old house, kind of obviously post Alison's disappearance. She meets Emily when Emily's mom Pam asks Emily to take over like a basket of like nice stuff to kind of welcome, new neighbours into town, etc. Over the course of Maya's appearance on the show, Emily and Maya's relationship kind of grows the most. Not the most out of like every couple, but like with them two it was like the most. And they started to kind of grow feelings for each other. Now this was during Alison's time pre-disappearance. Emily was very confused about her sexuality, and she still kind of remains confused about her sexuality. But with Maya, I think Emily starts to really accept her sexuality. So at the time that Emily and Maya start to hint towards a little flirtation, Emily is dating a boy called Ben. Don't like Ben, think he's really annoying. I just really didn't like Ben. And this one time, Noel is having a party. Noel has a party at his cabin, and he invites Ben to go along to the party. Ben invites Emily, and then Emily invites Maya. And there's a scene within this episode and within this season where they go to a photo booth to take some photos, but during the little photo session they end up having a little makeout, and these photos get printed, but when they leave the photos aren't there. Maya and Emily just kind of shrug it off, and maybe they just didn't print or whatever. But A actually took these photos and started blackmailing Emily with these photos. Maya starts to grow a little bit of irritation when Emily is quite hesitant to show her affection to Maya in public. Obviously, she is still kind of dealing with her sexuality and coming to terms with everything. So she still doesn't really like to show that kind of affection in public at this time. However, although Maya is irritated, Maya through this portion of the show is really understandable of Emily and gets it and doesn't rush Emily and tells her to take her time, and she'll be there for her when Emily is able to kind of fully come to terms with her sexuality. Now this is the contrast I'm going to talk about a bit later on, and why I think the writers kind of ruined Maya a little bit, because there's a certain point in the show where Maya's character just turns into like something totally different. During an episode titled There's No Place Like Homecoming, Emily takes Toby to homecoming. However, she does later realise that she should have took Maya instead. This is when the feelings start to kind of delve a little bit deeper, and they start really kind of falling for each other. One night she approaches Maya and she apologizes for how she has been, and once the photos of them kissing has kind of been outed a little bit, Emily really comes to terms with her sexuality and they start becoming more of a thing. In an episode titled Do Not Talk About Me When I'm Gone, Emily and Maya go on their first date. They go to a cinema and they have a little moment. Now, this is where the hurdle in the relationship starts to come. Emily's dad, who is currently serving, comes back home. And this is like a real kind of hurdle because Pam also starts to have an issue with Emily and Maya. In the episode called Salt Meets Wound, Emily invites Maya over to have like a family dinner with her and her family. Now, this dinner is very difficult to get through, and Pam is really not accepting of Maya and Emily's relationship. Emily's dad kind of warms to it a bit more, and although he's not okay with Emily being gay, he knows that everything is about Emily's happiness, and whatever makes Emily happy is what he's going to enjoy. Whatever makes Emily happy is something that he's going to favor. He's going to put his child's happiness above his own thoughts on it all. So when she eventually does come out, her dad, like I said, against it, but will still support her because it's what makes her happy. Pam, straight off the bat, invented homophobia actually, and kind of is straight away against it. So during this dinner, Pam sees Maya and Emily playing footsie under the table, and she actually goes to the pantry to have a little cry and just let everything out. She's really against it, really against this relationship. So later on, she sees Emily and Maya laughing on Emily's bed, and she thinks that they're up to a little bit of business, but they're not. And she storms in and she demands that Maya leaves, and she also demands that Maya calls her Mrs. Fields, that's it, sorry, nearly forgot the name, rather than Pam. So no respect there. There's no respect between the pair. Now, after she leaves, Pam searches Maya's bag and finds a little bit of smoke in there, and she then tells Maya's parents about it, and Maya gets sent to True North, which is like an anti-drug camp type of thing. So then we don't see Maya again until season 2, when she comes back from True North. And in my opinion, this is when everything kind of starts to go a bit downhill for Maya's character, and where I think the writers really ruined her, basically. So she comes back in the episode titled I Must Confess, and she tells Emily that she currently lives 45 minutes away from Rosewood, and that she's obviously back and she's all okay. Her and Emily have dinner together, and Emily tells her at this point Pam is warming to the relationship much more. She's becoming less against it, and she just wants whatever makes Emily happy. And obviously Maya is really happy to hear this. However, she says that she'll only believe it once she sees it, kind of thing. In the episode titled A Kiss Before Lying, Pam tells Emily that she's coming back because Pam's been away for a little bit. So she tells Emily, I'm coming back. And so they organize a little dinner between Maya, Emily, and Pam. So at this point, Maya holds a lot of hostility still towards Pam, obviously with what had happened, which she's so valid for. So there's that there, just going into this little dinner. Emily and Pam invite Maya to a restaurant, and as they walk in, they see Maya talking to Noel. So Emily gets a bit suspicious because she doesn't want Maya going back to her old ways. She doesn't want Maya to go again. So she gets a bit suspicious of, why are you talking to Noel for? However, Maya deflects, says it's fine, says that she just needed help with her phone, which we discover a bit later on. I don't think that's actually the case. So this is where Maya starts acting differently, and to me this dinner is where Maya's character started to get ruined quite a lot. Pam mentions that she enjoys jazz music, so Maya says that, do you know jazz musicians also take a little bit of that she sent Maya to True North for. So Emily is like, hello, like, why are we bringing this up? Maya says that at True North she actually got involved with a boy, and then Maya receives a text, and she says that it's from her stalker, and this actually carries on a bit later on, so keep this in mind. But the dinner ultimately just gets a bit ruined by Maya's behavior, and I really understand Maya is so valid for how she feels towards Pam, but I feel like there could have been less hostility in this thing, especially because I just want Maya and Emily to be happy and to be together. So yeah, so Pam goes to pay the bill, as she should. Emily and Maya have a little bit of a disagreement. Emily's like, why did you do that? You've just ruined dinner. Like, my mum is just starting to favor the idea of us being together, and now like she might not like it anymore and stuff like that. And although Pam is very unvalid for, like, I don't like the relationship, I get where Emily's coming from, but I also get where Maya's coming from in this situation. But nonetheless, her character in this scene was just not the Maya that we were shown before. In the episode titled Control A, Maya visits Emily and tells her that her parents found some of her old stash and that they think that she is smoking again. Maya denies that she's taking anything. So Emily's like, okay, we'll just tell them that it's old and they'll be fine and stuff like that. So Emily then has a swimming match. Maya shows up to this. She made a sign and she really put in a lot of effort, but Maya mainly stays with the liars and her teammates rather than show Maya affection. So this kind of hindered everything again. So they later have a party to celebrate the swimming team had won, but Maya is visibly sad and kind of depressed and by herself because Emily's not really spending much time with her. Hannah then encourages Emily to go and talk to Maya. The fact that like Hannah had to encourage Emily is like kind of weird to me. Like, this is a whole relationship that they're trying to get us to like. Actually, I have something to add on to this, but a bit later. But like the fact that like Emily had like, they had to force her to go and talk to Maya was just really weird. However, Maya kind of disappears a little bit, so Emily goes outside and finds that Maya was in fact smoking after Maya had told Emily that she had stopped. So Emily gets angry that Maya lied to her, but still tells her that we can go to your parents, tell them that it's old and, you know, it'll be fine. You'll have to go. You can stay with us. It'll be fine. Maya tells her that she doesn't want to do that, and Maya actually wants to run away. I think she wants to go to Las Vegas or LA, Los Angeles, maybe one of them. And she's like, Emily, come with me, we can run away. But Emily's like, I don't want to. So Maya gets a bit angry that Emily doesn't want to do that. So Emily and Maya have a little bit of a fight. So Maya then leaves, and this is where her disappearance starts. In the episode called Breaking the Code, Emily leaves countless of voicemails on Maya's phone, and eventually the voicemail box gets full, so she can't leave any more messages. And then a police officer tells Emily that Maya has disappeared and gone missing. And obviously Emily thinks that she's just ran away because that's what she wanted to do with Emily. Wayne, who is Emily's dad, comes back into town. Wayne and Emily go to this like bus ticket person, I want to say, I don't know, and asked them if they had seen Maya, if she got on a bus or not. He said that she brought a ticket to San Francisco, but I don't think she actually got onto the bus to use the ticket. So at this point they're like, oh my god, like what? In the episode titled Eye of the Beholder, Emily gets a message from an unknown person, which we will come back to. But this text message says that it's Maya and that she's fine, everything is okay. And that she's safe. At nighttime during this episode, Emily checks her mailbox and she gets a message from Maya again saying how brave that she is and how she admires her ability to deal with pressure. She says that she should not have come back because her last goodbye was not a good one and they ended things really badly. So eventually Emily calls Maya's mum and tells her that Maya is fine and everything is okay. But it's not. In the episode titled If Dolls Could Talk, Emily gets a message from Maya saying that she's angry that she told her parents that she had texted Emily. In the episode titled Unmasked, which is the season 2 finale, oh my god, there's reflection. I'm sorry. Emily gets a call from Maya, but the call gets disconnected. So the liars then return to Rosewood after the whole Mona thing that went down. And this is a direct parallel with how they found Alison's body and the reveal of that. But there are police and ambulances, and Pam tells Emily that they found a body and that they think it's Maya's. And this is a direct parallel. I'm going to come back to this because it's part of my reasoning as to like the downfall of like how the writers treated her character.
They found the body. They think it's Maya.
We are now going, this reflection is annoying me, but it's my desk. I'm sorry. Now we're going to introduce a really important character within this whole story. So we are going to talk about Lyndon James, and he first appears in season 3 after the whole we found Maya's body situation, and he turns up to Emily's workplace, which is the Grill, I believe, or I can't remember the name of it. Anyway, it's a cafe in Rosewood. And he tells her that he is Maya's cousin, and he says that his name is Nate. This is important. His name is actually not Nate, but he tells Emily his name is Nate. He asks Emily if she could talk, but obviously she's working, so she can't. He tells her that he now lives in Rosewood and he goes to Hollis School, and that he was really excited to spend time with Maya. So in the episode called Crazy, we discover Maya had a secret website where she kept all of her photos and videos, and Mona gives Hannah the code to the website to access these things, but they have to like decode it. It's this whole thing. In the episode titled Stolen Kisses, Aria finds out that Mona got into a car with Garrett the night that she went missing, which was also the same night that he was arrested for Alison's murder. Spencer then gets Caleb to break into the website that Mona had all of her stuff on, because I think at this point they all think that A killed Maya. There's a video where Maya calls herself a coward and that she has to face up to things, but she can't do it, and that she can't hide forever, and that she can't be afraid. And as the video ends, a police car shows up, which I think we believe is Garrett's. In the episode titled Stolen Kisses, Nate takes Emily to a place that she loved going to, which was by a lakeside cabin. They talk about Maya and bond over her and how they say they want revenge for her death. In the episode titled What Lies Beneath, Hannah finds a note dated back to the night that she went missing, where it asks Emily if she could go and meet her somewhere, but the meeting place has been washed out by the rain, so they don't know where they were supposed to meet. And this is a big clue, because this is where she could have gone missing. It's then revealed that Maya stayed in Noel Khan's cabin, which I think is what they were talking about when Maya first returned to Rosewood. Remember when she said that he was helping her with her phone? She ultimately stayed there to get a break and just kind of like get herself out of the mess that she had made. A bag is then found with a knife and a bus ticket in it. Noel then sends Spencer surveillance footage of the night that she went missing. I'm gonna have to read this from my phone so I get this correct. Maya rides her bike up to the cabin, then Jenna and Noel pull up and go inside. At 1 a.m, as Maya starts to leave the cabin, she turns around and somebody grabs her. This means that Noel and Jenna could not have killed Maya. Garrett then also could not have killed her because he was arrested at Spencer's house at midnight. So she went missing at 1 a.m. So could not have been Noel, Jenna, or Garrett. I think at this point Nate starts to grow a bit of a few feelings for Emily. He asks Emily if she wants to go out for a little bit of dinner and like on a date. She cuts him off and says that she just wants to be friends with him. Like this is Maya's cousin. She's also gay, so you know. Nate grows upset and he says that Maya would also say the same thing to multiple different guys. And at one point Nate and Emily do end up kissing, but Emily claims that it was just because she was confused about Maya's death. So now we are going to get to the actual day that Maya disappeared and everything that happened that night. I can do a whole timeline of this if you want me to, because we are just kind of going to briefly go over everything. But this is everything that happened. The night that Maya St Germain went missing, at an unknown time, Maya writes a note to Emily asking to meet her. I think the location where Maya wanted to meet her was at Noel's cabin. So she then obviously records the video of her saying that she's a coward and that she needs to face up to things. So a police car pulls up and it's Garrett, and Garrett actually takes her home, and she arrives home at around 9 p.m. Maya then takes her bike and makes her way over to Noel's cabin. She disappears through the back door at 10 p.m. and she stays there for a while, and she ends up recording a bunch of videos to Emily, and that keeps her there until about 1 a.m. At 12 a.m. Emily receives a call from Maya, but this call, like I said, got disconnected. So Jenna and Noel turn up to the cabin. Maya hears them coming and she decides to just get out of there and disappear from there, and that is when she is taken. So she is taken by no other than Nate, and his real name is Lyndon James. So Lyndon takes Maya through Emily's backyard and to the De Laurentiis house, and he's killed her by this point and left her at the De Laurentiis house. Now, Lyndon was actually an ex-boyfriend that Maya had met at True North, and he started to become a bit of a stalker after Maya had kind of left and broken off what they had. He didn't like this and wanted to get revenge for it. How they found out is that Lyndon offered to take Emily to this family kind of cabin getaway that they used to go to. He takes her to a lighthouse inn type of thing. She goes through Lyndon's overnight bag, and she finds a letter in there that he had promised to give to Maya's parents but never did. Before she could read it, he comes back and he tells her that Maya's parents won't be coming to the cabin until the next day. Lyndon starts to light a fire in the cabin thing that they're in, and Emily notices streaks of paint on his shoes. Now, these streaks of paint were in one of Maya's videos. The video was from True North and people she had met at True North. So Emily starts to panic, and she's kind of putting two and two together. So she decides, you know what, I'm going to go out, I'm going to get some fresh air, and I'm going to think about this. Lyndon offers to go with Emily, but she declines. And then once Emily is outside, she tries to ring someone to get some help, but Lyndon pops up, scares her, and drags her back inside before she can. Lyndon reveals himself to be Lyndon, not Nate. And he also at this point has Paige tied up and gagged. So he says that he's going to kill Paige because he wants her to feel the pain that he felt when Maya left him for Emily. Emily ends up escaping, and she actually escapes to this lighthouse, and she climbs all the way up to the lighthouse thinking that she's going to get away from him. And she tries to call for help. So Lyndon actually ends up chasing her bear, and he's carrying a knife at this point, so they have a little bit of a struggle. Emily, in the heat of the moment, manages to grab the knife that's fallen to the floor and ends up stabbing Lyndon. Caleb shows up. Love Caleb. And he comforts Emily, but Nate ends up shooting him. Yeah, so we only see a gunshot, a flash going off. We don't actually see the full thing happen. My bad. But yeah, Caleb survives. But yeah, that was just a brief overview of the death. If you want me to do a full timeline of the night she went missing, I will happily do that. So now we're going to talk about the problems, and the problems that Maya St Germain had from the writers. Now, this is the biggest one from me, and it's that her death was such a big part in the show, but had nothing to do with Alison, to do with A, or anything like that. And Maya was such a good character that the audiences really, really liked, and, it was kind of the Mona of the show. People really liked her. Her death was such a big, significant thing on the show, and they made such a fuss of her death. So for her death not to be connected with A and just to be a thing that was nothing to do with the storyline, nothing that really progressed the plot of the show forward, just makes me think you've killed this character for no good reason, like at all. And the fact that Maya's death, like the way they found Maya's body, was a complete parallel to Alison's. When they found Alison's body, you would think at this point that this death would have a significant impact on the show, and it just feels like Maya's character was purely used to dramatize the show rather to impact the show and progress the show further on to what it should be. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Basically, her death accumulated to nothing, and I just think that's such a waste of the character that Maya was. Maya was such a breath of fresh air for so many people, so for her character to be killed off the show in such a cheap way just makes it really annoying. And I think they killed her off because I think the writers only saw Emily ending up with Alison. And because Emily and Maya had a really good connection and the fan base really warmed to them and really wanted them to kind of be a thing, I think they dug themselves a hole, and I think they were like, right, we have to get rid of her because Alison will be Emily's girlfriend. Do you know what I mean? So I just hate, personally, her character to me was just wasted just to add some drama to the plot, rather than if she was killed by like A, that progresses it because that shows A's dangerous and A will hurt the people that the liars love the most. And if it had something to do with like maybe, you know, Maya found out that Alison was still alive and Mona, who was A at the time, couldn't have that happening, so Mona had to kill Maya or something like that, that still progresses the plot further. Whereas Maya's death was purely like, this isn't going to progress anything further, and it was purely to gain this drama throughout the show. When she was in the show season 1 and 2, she was exactly what Emily needed in her life, and someone who didn't push her into accepting her sexuality straight away, someone who was always there for her, and someone to make her realize who she is and who she likes. And it was such a breath of fresh air. She was bold, she was confident, she was comfortable with herself, and I think Emily really needed that person in her life. She was able to help Emily build this confidence to accept who she was really deep down, and she was a lovely character. I loved her so much. It was really special because she was kind of Emily's first girl relationship, so the whole thing was really special. She stood up for herself, and I really liked that. She would never say sorry for who she was, who she liked, what her sexuality was. She would always stand up for herself, and I loved that. I think she was a realistic character. She wasn't perfect, and that was really nice to see. She had her problems, and she accepted that she had her problems, and that was a really nice thing to be able to see to the audience. Her character did exactly what she was supposed to do, and she was, you know, a supporting character who supported Emily through everything and helped to progress Emily's story with her sexuality much further into this exploration of who she likes, and to feel comfortable with herself and to feel confident with herself. She was a really nice character in that way. I think the thing gets me is that she was a character who fit into the story so well. She literally lived in Alison's house. Hello? She was staying at Noel's cabin, and Noel obviously had impact in Alison's disappearance and Cece being A. She was staying in the same room in Noel's cabin that Alison went to the night that she disappeared. She had so many clues and there was so much potential, and the whole Maya Nu situation that Mona says a bit later on, there's so much potential and they've wasted it to give her this cheap death with a storyline with someone who we've never met before and has no impact on the story. That brings me to, once Maya had come back from True North, I think the writers were set on ruining her character because they wanted to kill her off. They made her very bitter, very kind of not confident in herself anymore. She would openly argue with multiple people. She would upset Emily. It's like at that dinner with Emily and Pam, she purposely tried to hinder the relationship, and this is not the Maya that we are given at the start of the show. And I think the writers really tried to do this because they knew we're going to kill her off, and so I think the writers tried to make the audience fall out of love with her again, but I don't think it worked. She kind of became quite aloof and she wouldn't tell Emily anything and she would keep secrets from Emily. She ultimately was killed way too soon and killed too early for plot convenience. They ultimately, Maya and Emily had this really beautiful relationship, so beautiful, so special, and it meant a lot to Maya, to Emily, and to the audience. And the fact that they ended it really toxic just sets this thing about Maya's character that she's not like this, and she's really nice. And ultimately I think this is how the writers ruined Maya's character. I'm all for, liked characters being killed off the show. It does do something to the audience. I'm watching Grey's Anatomy at the moment and all of my favorite characters are dropping dead left, right and center, and I'm not saying that they can't kill off likable characters and fan favorites. That's not what I'm saying. Obviously they can do that and I'm fine with that. I'm fine with them killing Maya off if it added something to the show and if it progressed the story even further and if it had something to do with A, because in that case her death has nothing to do with the story and it doesn't progress the story any further, and it's purely just to add some drama to the show. And I think the writers knew from the start they wanted Emily and Alison to be together, and once they found out that Maya was a favorite and people wanted Maya and Emily together, I think they were like, oh. So that's what I think it is ultimately. That is it for this video. If you would like a full timeline of Maya's death, I am more than happy to do one. Today was just a brief little overview to kind of describe the downfall of Maya's character, but I'd love to hear what you've got to say down below. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys. Pick your season or occupation. It's time to send in your application. Get to know you.